Hello, welcome along to Sportsbet TV and a very happy Easter to everybody that's celebrating. There is some really good racing across the Easter period. Of course, a lot of racing, and you need to be just careful to sort out the wheat from the chaff and not to overdo it with your bets. But both on Saturday and Sunday, there are excellent cards. Of course, Easter Monday, a lot of action as well. I have two selections for you for Easter Saturday. If you happen to be new to the service, please press the subscribe button just below this screen. It is free, and you'll be able to follow my tips whenever you wish to. And last week, I just gave the one selection. That was at Doncaster. The horse was called the Gatekeeper. He actually ran very well indeed. He placed at 14-1. They were paying 6 places. He came 5th in the Silver Lincoln. Just didn't quite get home, I didn't think. Over the mile in the very testing ground. He actually is due to run at Musselburgh on Saturday, back over 7 furlongs. It wouldn't surprise me to see him run well, although you just wonder how much that race took out of him. On the other hand, he's trained by the Johnstons, and they normally keep coming back for more and more and more. So that was the Gatekeeper last weekend, showing a profit, that one selection. Now, both my choices for Saturday are at Musselburgh's really good card. And the first of them is in the 3 o'clock. Now, this one is the 5 furlong Scottish Sprint Cup handicap. And there are 14 runners. The going is forecast good to soft. And the fact that they bet 11-2 the field tells its own story, because there are, well, just about all the horses you can make a case for here. So it's not going to be easy. But I think whatever wins it is going to be an each-way prize, which is what we're looking for. Now, this is a race in which Mackinac has top weight for Julie Camacho. This horse has only once been out of the first 3 at Musselburgh and has won 3 times from the other 6 starts. And the only time it was out of the frame was when it was a close 4th in this race last year. It won over course and distance as well on its final run of last season off 100. And although it's only gone up a pound, there's every chance that it will not be at all far away to tracks that it clearly adores. I think the negative factor for Mackinac is that it's the first run of the season, and maybe he will improve just a shade for it. Now, one horse who's an eye catcher here is called Came From the Dark, trained by Ed Walker. This one's got the former champion Oisin Murphy up and was 3rd in this race in 2021. In a driving finish, it was beaten a short head and the same, and that was off a mark of 99, and it's now rated £2 lower. It hasn't won since taking the Group 3 Coral Charge at Sandown in 2021, but it did miss quite a time off. It dropped £11 last term, which suggests it's not as good as it used to be, but it could now be on a very, very tempting mark, and is a horse that can go well fresh. So with Oisin Murphy up, Came From the Dark is one that I think bookies will be a little bit wary of. Now, Carl Burke, his horses are just beginning to get going now. He's got one called Silky Wilkie, who's been a consistent horse on the all-weather through the winter, but will probably find this tougher. Perhaps of more interest and at a much bigger price in this race is Carl Burke's 5 furlong listed winner last year, Last Crusader. Now, he lost his way after winning at York in listed company in the spring. It wouldn't surprise, though, to see him bounce back off a fair mark. So my suggestion is to watch the market as far as Last Crusader is concerned. And if you see market support for it, it could be worth a saver. It's also got the excellent Danny Tudhope on board. And then one other one to mention before the selection, that is Kevin Ryan's Catch Cunningham, who was really consistent last season. He's a rock-solid horse, and he will be thereabouts. But my choice is Zarzini. And Zarzini is trained by David Barron, who now holds the license with his daughter Nicola, and Ben Curtis will be on board. Now, this horse was beaten a short head in this very race in 21. The race in which Came For the Dark was just a further short head back in 3rd. But he actually did even better last year, did Zarzini. He went and won it really well, taking the 22 renewal off a mark of 99, and then he went on to finish 4th in a really good renewal of the Group 3 Palace House Stakes at Newmarket's Guineas meeting. So this is a horse with a touch of class, a really good sprinter. There's no doubt about it, his form tailed off last year from late spring, and I think this is a horse who just tends to go better in the early part of the season. He's £2 lower than when he won the race last year. He goes very well at the track and in the race. He's been a short head second and a winner of this race in the last 2 years. And I think he's got an ideal draw as well in the centre of the field. He's got every chance in my view. And at 13-2 each way, Coral, for example, offering 4 places, I think that Zarzini has a really big chance in the 3 o'clock at Musselburgh on Easter Saturday, the Scottish Sprint Cup. Now, just before I come to my second selection, which is also at Musselburgh, I want to remind you that if you want more tips from me and covering all the big weekend fixtures and all the big festival meetings, of which there are many, almost every week we've got a big meeting now going forward, then please join me at Out in Front. You can check the link out on the Patreon link just below this screen. And it costs just £25 per month now, plus VAT. And the service has been showing a good profit at the end of the first 6 months. Also, in a new feature, as well as giving regular video bulletins, I'll be sending out a spotlight-style analysis of the races that are of interest to me. So you'll be able to sit down and read as well my thoughts on the races that I'll be tipping in at the big festival meetings, at weekends, and at selected weekdays as well. So do check that out. There's no login or even lock-in fee, and you'll be able to join and leave as you see fit. We're not keeping anybody to any sort of a contract. We're that confident that the service will serve you well. So do check out in Front at Patreon below this screen. Of course, we've got the Grand National coming up next week, even though last week I thought it was this week, as I had a senior moment with the Grand National being much later this year than is usually the case. Anyway, I move on now to my second free selection here at Sportsbet on Easter Saturday. The Musselburgh 335 is the 1.75 Queen's Cup handicap. There are 14 runners, and it is good to soft ground. Now, another very open affair. The 4-1 favourite is Andrew Balding's Spirit Mixer, who was very progressive the first half of last season, rattling up a hat-trick. And then he went on to run the mighty Trushan very, very close when second in the Northumberland Plate. That was a brilliant effort. He's had a long rest. He's been off for 9 months. Could be the type to really improve this season. And because of that, I think bookies will be a little bit wary of him. But he's never won on any surface worse than good. So the good to soft ground will test him as well after an absence. So because of that, I'm just inclined to oppose him. Now, amongst the others, Wise Eagle was a real stable star for Adam Nicol last season. He won 3 of his last 4, including over 2.25 miles at both Pontefract and here at Musselburgh. He's also won twice over this course and distance the previous term. So a horse who goes very well at Musselburgh, also goes well first time out, and he's having his first run for 6 months. Now, one horse I see is fairly prominent in the betting, but I think will possibly struggle, is Metier, trained by Harry Fry. We all know this horse needs buckets and buckets of rain. He's a real mudlover, as he showed when he won the November handicap when it was hot deep at the end of last season, and he's still £5 higher. And although he's taken on stiff tasks over hurdles in 3 runs during the winter, he's not beaten one horse at all throughout the winter, so I can't be fancying Metier. Amongst the others, jumps trainer Paul Nicholls has Pleasant Man, a horse who was rather disappointing over hurdles, didn't manage to win, but he is an interesting contender back on the flat, having shown very good form for Roger Charlton in the 2021 season. He won a Yarmouth 1.75 handicap off a mark of 93 in September 2021, and any money for Pleasant Man will be of some interest. Now, a horse who's won this race before is Charlie Johnston's The Max We Can. He won this 2 years ago, and he also popped up and won the 2-mile race at the Showgirl Cup in August. He was, though, very well beaten in this race last year, but he is a horse who's quirky and can do it when he feels like it. And then we've also got the great old horse Yukon Glen for Jim Goldie, who probably will need the run. He normally does. But even as a 10-year-old, mark my words, he'll probably pay his way this season in some decent staying handicap races. But in a tough race, my choice is Outbox, who is trained by Archie Watson and is the mount of Holly Doyle. He just gets the nod. despite top weight off a mark of 105. He faced a lot of stiff tasks last season, but he won a really big prize, best part of £500,000 actually, in Qatar, in Doha, in February of last year. He then ran third in the Group 2 Jockey Club Stakes at Newmarket in May. He was third in the Group 3 Geoffrey Freer Stakes at Newbury in August, and then was just beaten by a whisker, beaten a nose in the Group 3 Stockholm Cup in Sweden. And that was another very big effort from him. Now, this is a horse that does go well fresh, and he returns after a 4-month break. Now, significantly, Archie Watson has a great record with his runners at Musselburgh. Indeed, he's had 29 runners over the last 5 years. 11 have won, and that is an outstanding 38% winning strike rate. That is a stat that means he doesn't mess about when he sends his runners north of the border. And I think that means that outbox is value. And at the time of this recording, late on Friday morning, there is 16-1 available for 4 places. Many of the other firms going 12-1, but 16-1 is available. And I think that is a terrific price for outbox. That's Archie Watson, Holly Doyle in the 3:35 at Musselburgh to go along with my earlier call in the 3 o'clock race, Zarzini, for David Barron and Ben Curtis. Those are my 2 choices then for Easter Saturday. I hope you enjoy the holiday period and enjoy your racing. Remember, if you want tips for Easter Sunday and Monday, you can check out everything I've got to offer there at Patreon. And of course, I'll be back next week, looking forward to the Grand National, where I think I'll probably have a couple of selections for you. And I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic meeting over there on Merseyside. But for now, from me, Paul Alster, I'll say goodbye. Have a very happy Easter. Bye for now.